The funniest part is, they thought their little ritual was private, right until your name slammed into the room like a warning shot. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. A whole group huddled in some dim corner of their world, whispering, plotting, sharpening their excuses and their psychological tricks. And then suddenly the air glitches. A phone lights up. A notification hits. A voice plays. A message pops. And it's you. Your presence crashes into their ritual like a brick through glass. That's the moment they realized they weren't hidden. They weren't powerful. They weren't in control. They were being watched by the very energy they tried to break. Interesting fact, humans can sense danger before they logically understand it. Their nervous system spikes, their chest locks, their breath gets tight. And that's exactly what happened the second you showed up in the middle of their secret ceremony. Their bodies responded before their minds could lie. And thank you, chosen one. Don't forget to pay this message back by simply pressing the like and subscribe to help spread this message to more souls, as it's the responsibility of all of us to spread the light. And thank you, chosen one, for being part of this mission. You are part of a force. Now come back here, because this is where the real intro begins. They never understood what they were messing with. They never noticed the giant standing behind you. They were too busy convincing themselves that the sabotage they plotted in their heads didn't count. They tried to convince themselves that their schemes were harmless because they stayed hidden behind anonymity, group chats, fake smiles, or their own delusions. They thought if the cruelty stayed in the shadows, it wouldn't echo. They thought if the damage was psychological, subtle, whispered, or indirect, it wouldn't be traced back to them. They really believed intention carried no weight. That's the level of delusion you're dealing with. But all that illusion shattered the moment your name landed inside their ritual. You sent a bone-chilling message without even trying. The shock that ran through that room wasn't just fear, it was exposure. It was the realization that the chosen one they tried to dismantle is operating on a way higher level than their whole group combined. You sent a message that said, "I see you." You sent a message that said, "Your ritual is nothing but a loud red flag waving in my face." You sent a message that said, "You dragged yourself into my world and you don't belong here." And they felt it hard. You know why? Because when someone is guilty, the smallest sound feels like a threat. The smallest notification feels like a warning. The smallest coincidence feels like proof. That's why their room went cold. That's why some of them froze mid-breath. That's why some of them looked over their shoulders. And that's why some of them haven't slept right since. They realized the ritual they thought was powerful was actually flimsy, childish, and desperate. They realized the chosen one they thought was weak was actually the one holding all the cards. They realized the universe doesn't let cruelty slide, not even quiet cruelty, not even hidden intentions. Here's another fact they don't want to hear. When someone focuses on your downfall, they attach themselves to your destiny. And when that destiny rises, they get dragged along the ride, even if it terrifies them. That's why they keep watching you. That's why your name keeps coming up. That's why their obsession keeps looping back. They're tied to the very person they tried to break. Your message hit harder than a punch because it wasn't the words. It was the timing, right in the middle of their little meeting, right while they were comparing notes on how to stall you, drain you, trick you, or predict your moves. Right while their illusion was at its peak. That's when life threw your presence into the room like a spotlight. And the spotlight exposed everything: their guilt, their intentions, their jealousy, their fear, their weakness, their obsession, and most of all, their insignificance in your story. You didn't just interrupt their ritual, you crashed their reality. You broke their narrative. You reminded them that they're not the hunters. They're the ones being studied. You reminded them that the shadows they played in aren't as safe as they thought. You reminded them that the chosen one is not someone you corner. The chosen one is someone you accidentally summon when you try. You didn't plan it. You didn't force it. You didn't have to strategize it. Your existence alone was enough. That's the bone-chilling part. That's the part that sent their stomachs dropping. That's the part that made someone's hand shake. That's the part that made someone leave the room early. That's the part that made someone check over their shoulder 3 times before going to sleep. You sent a message that said everything without saying anything. I'm not in your ritual. You're in mine. I'm not in your trap. You walked into my territory. I'm not the target. I'm the consequence. Chosen one, you didn't just interrupt their ritual, you ended it. And chosen one, stay close, because what you just heard was barely the opening strike. That was the echo before the real explosion. The ritual you interrupted, that was only the first layer. The deeper you go, the more their masks slip, the more their fear shows, the more you start seeing exactly why your presence hit them harder than anything they ever expected. So if you're really built for this path, if you're ready for the truth that makes the enemy flinch, then prove it. Drop a 44 in the comments so I know you're locked in, aware and awake. And if you want to fuel this mission, hit that super thanks, not as charity, but as a signal flare that you stand with the force behind these messages. Your support doesn't just help, it amplifies this movement. Now take a breath and tighten your seatbelt, because we're about to peel this open layer by layer, and if you're a real chosen one, you'll feel that instinctive pull to stay right here until the final word. Something inside you already knows. The deeper we go, the more everything clicks. Let's get back into the ritual you shattered, and why it terrified them so much. Number 1. The secret huddle that you crashed without even being there. Funny how they talked the loudest when they thought you weren't listening, and then one whisper of your name turned their whole strategy meeting into a crime scene. Chosen one, this is where things get entertaining. Because the moment we talk about the secret huddle you crashed without even being there, we're talking about the kind of power most people don't even realize they have. Power that doesn't need you to show up physically. Power that doesn't need you to send a message on purpose. Power that shakes a room simply because your existence grazed their imagination. Your enemies didn't just flinch, they malfunctioned. One little mention of your name sucked the air out of their lungs like a vacuum above their heads, and that's what they'll never admit. It's not you who fears them. It's them who can't handle you. Think of it like this for a moment. Imagine a group of people sitting around a table, whispering, comparing screenshots, swapping stories, calculating how to block your progress. They're so sure they're running the operation smoothly. Then, suddenly, a phone lights up with your post. A message appears with your voice, a clip of you shows up on their feed. Or someone simply says your name. That's all it takes. Your presence enters the room like a cold hand touching the back of their neck. And now the room feels too small, too quiet, too exposed. They start asking each other, did they find out? Did someone snitch? Are they watching us? Why now? Here's a psychological fact they don't want to hear. Guilty people always assume they've been caught, even when no one's chasing them. That's why your name is enough to hijack their mood. That's why their little ritual lost all its rhythm. That's why someone suddenly had to step outside to breathe. That's the effect of the chosen one's presence. Not intimidation, exposure. You didn't crash their meeting. Their fear dragged you into it. And here's another metaphor to slap them with. Imagine burglars sneaking through a house, thinking they're quiet, careful, untouchable. Then suddenly the lights switch on without anyone touching the switch. That's what you did. You didn't walk into their room. You flipped the voltage in their entire operation. The funniest part? History has seen this before. People panic when the person they underestimated rises. Think about Beyoncé. Every time someone tries to shade her, she doesn't clap back. She just releases a project and suddenly the industry rearranges itself. Think about Michael Jordan. Teams trash-talked him until he stepped into the court and their confidence evaporated like steam. Think about Kobe. Think about Muhammad Ali. People plotted, doubted, criticized, whispered. Then the chosen one walked into the narrative, and suddenly the world rewrote the ending. You're doing the same thing without even stepping into the room. Now let's answer the questions that might be spinning in your mind right now. Why were they even talking about me? Because chosen ones live rent-free inside the heads of people who can't stand their growth. Why does my presence shake them? Because they expected you to stay down. They planned your downfall like it was a group project, and group projects fall apart the moment the person they targeted starts winning. Why does my name alone stop conversations? Because you represent the proof that their plans didn't work. It's embarrassing for them. And that humiliation is delicious when you finally see it clearly. But here's the part that hits the hardest. You crashed a meeting you weren't even invited to because your path, your frequency, your energy operates above theirs. They were plotting on the ground floor. You're living on the top level. But your footsteps alone are enough to rattle their ceiling. That's why your name appears in rooms you've never entered. That's why people who barely know you discuss you like a weather alert. That's why the same individuals who swore they were over you or done with you still find ways to bring you up. You don't haunt them. Their intentions haunt them. You're just the mirror. Some of them were comparing notes like detectives investigating a ghost. Did you see what they posted? Did you hear what they're doing now? Do you know who they're talking to? They were trying to track your movements like scientists studying an unpredictable natural phenomenon. But here's what they forgot. Chosen ones don't move in predictable, controllable patterns. You're spontaneous. You're inconvenient. You evolve without warning. You glow without permission. That's why they can't keep up. You crashed their huddle because your upward momentum outpaced their expectations. Another fact. When people obsess over someone, the brain creates false connections. They start believing every coincidence is a sign. So when your message appeared in that exact moment, right in the middle of their scheming, their brains interpreted it as a warning, as a threat, as cosmic payback. That's why their stomach dropped. That's why the ritual broke. That's why someone said, "Let's talk about this later." You broke the spell without lifting a finger. Chosen one, the first step to understanding your power is recognizing this. Your presence disrupts anything built on lies. Your energy interrupts anything built on cruelty. Your growth destroys any plan built on your failure. That's why their secret huddle froze. That's why their conversations collapsed. That's why their confidence shattered the moment your name entered their ritual. You didn't join their meeting. You overshadowed it. You didn't expose their secrets. Their own fear did. You didn't need to confront them. Your existence confronted everything fake about them. And this is where the villain wisdom kicks in. The part they'll never be ready for. The part that makes them flinch. Every time they try to work against you in the dark, your success turns on the lights. They thought they were being strategic. They thought they were being clever. They thought they were being powerful, but all they really did was gather together, just to get startled by your shadow. You're the giant they never noticed behind you. You're the glitch in their ritual. You're the reality check they wish they could unsee. You're the force they can't mute, block, or erase. They were running briefings until your name hit the room. They were comparing notes until your aura tightened their throats. They were scheming until you showed up without showing up. Chosen one, remember this. You crash the rooms you're never invited to because you're the only one in the story who actually matters. Now, let's go deeper, because this was only the first layer of the panic you triggered. Number 2. Cruel intentions always come back with receipts. They thought intentions evaporate, but the universe keeps receipts like a petty ex who screenshots everything. Chosen one, this part is where the story stops being funny and starts being poetic justice, because cruel intentions always come back with receipts, and yours weren't dealing with harmless people. They were dealing with people who weaponized subtlety, who hid their hands behind their backs, who smiled at you while slipping knives into your shadow. They didn't just dislike you, they engineered downfall, they plotted, they rehearsed, they calculated. And they thought because their schemes stayed inside their heads or behind closed doors, the consequences would somehow disappear, as if the universe runs on vibes and not accountability. As if every psychological trick they played wasn't entered into the ledger of reality the second they imagined it. Let's cut straight into it, chosen one. The sabotage you went through. It wasn't random. It wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't just life. These people deliberately bent their energy toward hurting you. They crafted narratives behind your back. They twisted conversations to make you look unstable. They set traps, expecting you to trip. They manipulated situations and tried to pull strings like puppeteers. They even tried to glamorize their cruelty by telling themselves it was playful or harmless or you deserved it. That's how the weak justify their failures, by trying to infect strong people with guilt they never earned. But here's where the plot flips. Cruelty has a signature, a timestamp, a trail, and when the chosen one rises, every hidden intention gets dragged out like evidence at a trial. You think their anxiety right now is random. You think the way they suddenly look over their shoulders is just stress. No. Their conscience is a snitch. Their intentions are betraying them. Their own energy is turning them in. Now imagine this for a second. Imagine someone trying to sink a ship that's built to float. They poke holes, they loosen ropes, they damage the sails, but the ship still moves, still rises, still sails farther than they ever dreamed you would. Their plan didn't fail quietly. It failed loudly. It failed in ways that embarrassed them. It failed in ways that exposed how petty, insecure, and jealous they really were. And now that you're thriving, their own actions are boomeranging straight back at them. Look at history for proof. Cruel intentions always leave fingerprints. Judas tried to sabotage Jesus. Everyone remembers Judas, but no one celebrates him. People plotted behind Princess Diana's back. Decades later, their cruelty still haunts their legacy. Even in pop culture, think about Taylor Swift. Every time someone used cruelty to destroy her, it backfired so hard, she turned the fallout into chart-topping albums and global influence. Cruel people forget this one universal rule. When you aim to break someone who's chosen, you dig a grave you will eventually fall into. Here's the psychological punch they never expected. Intent carries energy. You don't need to act physically to create impact. The moment they wished harm on you, the moment they tried to humiliate you, the moment they plotted a downfall, they created a chain reaction that now circles back like a silent drone with footage of everything they did. And chosen one, let's answer the quiet questions that might be lurking in your mind. Why did they even want to hurt me? Because cruelty is the weapon of the insecure. You triggered something they weren't ready to face within themselves. Why did it feel like everything was coming at me at once? Because they teamed up. Weak minds flock together when they're intimidated. Why didn't their sabotage destroy me? Because chosen ones bend, but they don't break. Your spirit is built like tempered steel. They brought plastic knives to a war they can't fight. Their psychological tricks always had an expiration date. Their manipulative plots always had a timer. Their attempts to twist reality always had a moment where the curtain would fall. And now here we are. Curtain down, lights on, all receipts printed. Let's go deeper into this metaphor. Chosen one. Think of yourself as a flame. People who envy you are moths. They circle, they hover, they pretend to admire the light, but inside they're planning to drain it, touch it, control it, extinguish it. And every time they get close, they get burned. Not because you attack them, because you exist, because your light exposes how weak their wings really are. Another fun fact. Research shows humans project their intentions onto the world around them. Someone who plots betrayal expects betrayal everywhere. Someone who tries to trick others becomes paranoid about being tricked. Someone who schemes in the dark starts seeing shadows even in daylight. This is why your enemies are restless. This is why they feel watched. This is why your success feels like an attack to them. Their sabotage is coming back with receipts, chosen one. Receipts that look like sudden losses, friend groups turning on them, opportunities slipping, people doubting them, anxiety they can't explain, plans falling apart for no reason, truths being revealed accidentally. And that eerie feeling that somebody somewhere knows what they did. Spoiler alert, it's not somebody. It's life itself. You know why this part is so satisfying, because you didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to expose them. You didn't have to clap back. You didn't have to play dirty. Their own intentions are doing the work. Their cruelty is coming home like a lost dog that finally returns to its owner. Chosen one, you weren't paranoid. You weren't too sensitive. You weren't imagining things. They meant what they did. They meant what they thought. They meant the harm. That's why the receipts are returning with such precision. That's why reality is folding them like paper airplanes. You're watching karma operate with GPS accuracy. It's poetic, honestly. They tried to ruin you quietly. Now they're being exposed loudly. They tried to wound you in secret. Now they're getting consequences in daylight. They tried to manipulate your story. Now their own narrative is falling apart. Here's the final villain smirk truth bomb. Cruel intentions don't dissolve. They accumulate interest. And your enemies? Their debt just came due. Chosen one, this is just the second layer of the unraveling. They thought their intentions vanished. They thought they got away with it. They thought no one saw. But the universe? Oh, it saw everything. Number 3. The moment they realized the game wasn't private. Wild how they thought they were operating in stealth mode, until your presence sliced through their ritual like a blade and exposed every lie they were telling themselves. Chosen one, this moment right here is the part that still haunts them. They were whispering your name like it was some forbidden spell, convinced they were hidden, protected, unseen. Then reality decided to embarrass them. A sound, a notification, a glitch, a sudden shift in the room's energy. Whatever it was, it synced perfectly with the exact second your name left their lips. That's when their stomach dropped. That's when their plan cracked. That's when they finally realized the game wasn't private. It was monitored. The universe has a petty sense of timing when it comes to protecting chosen ones. You don't even need to show up. Your energy shows up first. It walks in like a shadow with perfect aim and starts flipping every switch they thought was safe to touch. And now they're trying to figure out how you always manage to appear in the exact moment they're plotting. They think it's coincidence. It's not. It's alignment. It's the universe whispering, "Try that again and see what happens." You're probably wondering, why does this keep happening? Why do they always get exposed the second they move against me? Because chosen ones aren't allowed to be played with. Every trick gets returned to sender. Every whisper gets caught by the wind. Every intention gets dragged into the light. Your life is synced with a bigger force that refuses to let their rituals go unchecked. Let them stress. Let them wonder how much you know. Let them panic every time their phone buzzes. You don't have to lift a finger. The universe already put eyes on the whole situation. Focus on you. Their game was never private, because your power was never small. Number 4. They tried mind games. You replied with reality. They tried mind games. You replied with reality. They played chess in the dark, forgetting you don't need light to win. You are the light. Chosen one, this part stings them the most, because this is where their whole strategy collapses. They really thought mind games didn't count. They thought invisible attacks had no consequences. They believed their silence protected them, their subtlety disguised them, and their manipulative intentions somehow didn't enter the universe's record. They treated psychological warfare like it was harmless. But intentions scream louder than actions. And now every single one of theirs is blowing up in their faces like faulty fireworks. They pushed emotional triggers, planted doubts, twisted stories and thought. Because they didn't get caught out loud, it didn't matter. But the universe doesn't care about volume. It cares about frequency. And they were vibrating on pure jealousy, obsession, bitterness and cruelty. That's why everything is snapping back at them now. Their mind games were postcards with return addresses they thought no one would read. And you replied with reality, with growth, with clarity, with becoming everything they swore you'd never be. That alone is revenge. That alone is exposure. That alone is the slap they can't recover from. You're probably wondering, why didn't their tricks destroy me? Because chosen ones are wired differently. Your intuition is stronger than their manipulation. Your spirit is heavier than their illusions. Their mind games bounced off you because the universe refuses to let lies shape your destiny. Now look at them, confused, nervous, wondering why life suddenly stopped cooperating, trying to figure out why everything they wished on you slipped into their own lives instead. And the answer is simple. Their intentions were visible to the only force that mattered, and that force is riding with you, not them. Keep moving. Reality already defeated their illusions. Number 5. The puppet master is about to get dragged into the spotlight. Funny how the one pulling the strings always forgets the stage lights eventually flip on. Chosen one, this is the part where the universe stops being subtle and starts being theatrical. There's been a self-appointed puppet master lurking behind your challenges, the type who thinks they're the mastermind, because they move in shadows, whisper instructions, and push people like chess pieces. They convinced themselves they were writing your downfall, like they were some kind of director, cute, delusional, but cute. cute. What they never understood is this: there's no world where a chosen one operates under someone else's script. You weren't built to be controlled. You were built to expose whoever tries. And right now, the spotlight is heating up. Every lie they whispered is echoing back. Every plot they coordinated is unraveling. Every mask they wore is cracking. Their biggest fear was always being seen for who they really are. And that moment is arriving like a camera flash they can't dodge. You might be wondering, why now? Because the universe has run the receipts. Their influence has an expiration date, and it just hit 0. The people they manipulated are waking up. The schemes they orchestrated are leaking. Their fake reputation is collapsing like cheap cardboard in the rain. And here's the poetic part. The stage they built to humiliate you is now the platform where they get exposed. Publicly, clearly, brutally. They wanted power. They're about to get attention instead. They wanted to stay hidden. They're about to become the main character of their own downfall. Meanwhile, you're rising untouched, unbothered, and backed by a universe that refuses to let anyone else hold the pen to your story. Keep watching, Chosen One. The puppet master is about to dance without strings. Number 6. The sneak thief who walked into the wrong store. They thought they were robbing you, but accidentally broke into the headquarters of the one person who already knew every inch of the building. Chosen One, this is where the universe gets almost comedic. Someone genuinely believed they could sneak into your space, take your peace, drain your energy, copy your glow, hijack your momentum, or stain your name. They strutted in like some midnight bandit, whispering to themselves that you wouldn't notice. Meanwhile, you're the architect of the entire territory they stepped into. They didn't break into your store, they walked into your domain. That's the part that melts their brain. They thought they were hunting you, but they were strolling right into your map. Every trap. You built it without even trying. Every exit. You memorized it in your sleep. Every little shadowy corridor where they thought they could hide. That's the very corner where your intuition shines the brightest. You ever notice how thieves panic the hardest when they realize the owner is home and wide awake? That's exactly where they are right now. They tried lifting your peace, but somehow theirs started falling apart. They tried stealing your energy, but now they're the ones drained, confused, and spiraling. They tried to take credit for your success, and somehow that success doubled on your end while their own lane dried up. They tried smearing your name, but their own reputation cracked first. You might wonder, why did every attempt backfire? Simple, because they weren't meant to operate in your world. You're built with sensory alarms they didn't even know existed. Your intuition is a security system. Your growth is barbed wire. Your purpose is the guard dog. And the universe itself is the silent CCTV camera watching everything they thought they hid. They walked in thinking they were going to rob a victim. They didn't realize they were trespassing into the Chosen One's territory. Now look at them, looking around, lost, exposed, realizing every step they took was the wrong one because they weren't supposed to be inside your realm to begin with. They thought they were playing you, but they only proved one universal law. You can't steal from someone who was born guarded by forces you can't see. Let them scramble. Let them choke on the consequences. You're protected, elevated, and already 3 moves ahead while they're still trying to figure out how they ended up trapped in a store that was never theirs to enter. Number 7. The return of old enemies who should have stayed gone. Some people don't come back to check on you. They come back to check if their old damage finally worked. Chosen one, brace yourself, because this part hits different. There's an enemy from your past, someone who already tried it, already failed, already embarrassed themselves, and yet here they come again, crawling back into your storyline like a horror movie villain that didn't get the memo that the audience stopped being scared of them years ago. They should have stayed gone. They should have stayed irrelevant. They should have stayed quiet. But jealousy doesn't understand retirement, and fear has a long memory. This person thought time would weaken you. They assumed distance would dull your power. They hoped life would slow you down enough for their old tricks to finally land. What they didn't expect was the glow-up, the elevation, the eerie calm you carry now. The universe sharpening you in silence while they sat in the dark, replaying old losses on loop. Now imagine this. Chosen one, somebody who once tried to break you, sees you again after all this time. And instead of seeing the version they tried to destroy, they see the version that survived them, thrived after them, grew because of them. That's the moment their stomach drops into their shoes. That's when their jealousy starts glitching. That's when the fear resurrects. They didn't come back by accident. This is unfinished business on their end, not yours. They're back because why are they still rising? Why didn't my sabotage stick? Why did the universe back them instead of me? Why does their name still carry power I can't touch? They're back because your success is a threat. Your evolution is a mirror they can't look into without crumbling. Your existence alone reopens the wounds they hoped time would stitch shut. The universe is laughing at this rerun. You already passed the levels they tried to trap you in. You already outgrew the identity they tried to confine you to. They're stepping into a version of you that doesn't even flinch anymore. A version protected, guided, and surrounded by forces that move on your behalf like silent soldiers. This comeback isn't a warning for you, it's a warning for them. They're re-entering your storyline thinking it's the same game, but they're walking straight into a higher version of you with sharper intuition, stronger boundaries, deeper wisdom, and a universe that's been waiting to settle the score they ran from. Let them return. Let them try again. Because this time, chosen one, they aren't facing who you were. They're facing the upgraded version of the one person they should have left alone forever. Number 8. Their past failure just got replayed in HD. Their past failure just got replayed in HD. Nothing haunts a guilty conscience more violently than watching the person they tried to destroy walk in shining like nothing happened. Chosen one, this part is almost cinematic. The moment they saw you rise again, the moment your glow hit their screen, the moment your name reappeared in the group chat they swear you'll never see, boom, their old failure started replaying in high definition, loud enough to drown out whatever delusional confidence they built since the last time they lost to you. They thought they buried the memory of you, but your elevation dug it back up with a shovel. Seeing you rise wasn't just inconvenient for them, it was devastating. It reopened every wound they tried to pretend didn't exist. It reminded them of that moment they swung at you and missed so badly they embarrassed themselves. It reminded them their old plots didn't break you, they built you. And now they're panicking in circles, reviving every old tactic like a failing franchise, desperately making another sequel nobody asked for. Meetings, check-ins, updates, quick calls, just seeing what you're up to. Yeah, that's not curiosity, that's fear wrapped in obsession. They're rebooting the same rituals that failed before because your success is their worst nightmare. Your rise is their reminder that all their secret plans never touched you and the fact you didn't crumble. That's the part that keeps them up. That's the part that makes them start whispering again. That's the part that makes them compare notes in dark rooms like terrified interns running from a deadline they can't escape. The universe is savage with this timing. You didn't just rise, you rose right when they thought the file on you was closed. Now their failure is replaying on loop, Ultra HD, full volume, with no option to skip. Let them panic. Let them resurrect old schemes. Because the more they try to repeat history, the faster they realize you're not the same character they fought before, and their sequel will flop even harder than the original. Number 9. The funhouse moment, when they realized you played them first. They thought they put you in a maze until the walls started bending and they realized you were the one controlling the mirrors. Chosen one, this is the part that makes the enemy's soul glitch. They walked around so confidently, thinking they had you figured out, thinking you were reacting to their moves, thinking you were trapped in their world. Meanwhile, you were standing there, quiet, calm, smirking like a villain who already read the final page of the book they're still struggling to decode. They thought they were directing the game, but they were in the funhouse you built with your silence, your intuition, your growth, your emotional intelligence. The universe didn't just protect you, it turned their tricks backward. Every lie they told bounced back. Every illusion they tried to weaponize warped in their hands. Every psychological trap they set twisted into something confusing they couldn't escape. You ever notice how guilty people panic when the environment stops behaving the way they expect? That's what happened. The room started bending. Reality started mirroring their own intentions. Suddenly, they weren't manipulating you. They were fighting their own reflection. They thought you were naive, soft, unaware. They assumed your silence meant weakness. They couldn't comprehend that you were letting them think they had control so the universe could reveal exactly how incompetent they truly were. They didn't know that chosen ones don't chase battles. We change the battlefield. Now they're looking around like, why does everything feel off? Because this isn't their world. It's yours. It always was. They just didn't notice the giant standing behind you, the unseen force elevating your perspective, the protection wrapped around you like invisible armor. While they slithered in the dark, you pulled them into the light without lifting a finger. Let them choke on the realization. Let them tremble when the mirrors stop lying for them, because this is the moment they finally understand. You were never in their trap. They were trapped in your realm, and you were the one holding every exit. Number 10. Your calm is the chill that haunts them. Nothing slices deeper than a person who's supposed to be broken, sitting there calm, unbothered and glowing like the plot twist they never saw coming. Chosen one, your calm is their punishment. Your silence is their karma. Your peace is the bone-chilling message that keeps replaying in their head like a nightmare they can't wake up from. You think you're just minding your business. But on their side of the fence, your composure feels like the universe is dragging a cold finger down their spine. They expected screaming, chaos, rage. They wanted you to fall apart so they could celebrate behind closed doors. Instead, you showed up with that villain-level serenity, that quiet smirk that says, "I already won, sweetheart." And that's the part that breaks them. Because now they're forced to face a truth they never wanted to admit. All their rituals, all their gossip, all their plots, all their psychological tricks did nothing but expose how weak they actually are. They ask themselves, how are they still peaceful? Why aren't they reacting? Why didn't the trap trigger them? Why does the universe protect them like that? Your calm is a mirror, and every time they look into it, they see their own insecurity, their own obsession, their own failure staring back. They don't see a victim. They see a chosen one who stepped out of their reach and out of their league. That serenity you carry, it's the mark of someone the universe supports, someone the universe whispers to, someone the universe lifts even when chaos tries to pull them down. Your peace exposes their chaos. Your stillness reveals their instability. Your composure confirms what they feared most. You were never intimidated by them. They were intimidated by you. Let them shiver. Let them spiral. Let them replay your calm like a horror soundtrack, because they finally get it. The one thing they can't steal from you is the one thing they fear the most. Number 11. The cup runs dry for the ones who tried to drain you. The cup runs dry for the ones who tried to drain you. When you try to starve a chosen one, the universe flips the table, and suddenly you're the one choking on the famine you ordered. Chosen one, this one hits like poetic justice with a steel-toed boot. The people who tried to drain you dry are now watching their own cups crack in their hands. Everything they tried to take from you, energy, confidence, reputation, opportunities, support, is evaporating on their side faster than they can blink. They thought they could siphon your glow like some cosmic leech, but the universe was quietly setting up a reversal that even karma would applaud. Look at their life right now, their resources shrinking, their confidence shaky, their luck dead battery, their allies ghosting them harder than a bad date. Because when someone targets a chosen one, everything they touch starts glitching. It's a universal law. The drain they aimed at you becomes the drain that swallows them. They're confused, asking themselves, why is everything going wrong? Simple, because you were the blessing they tried to sabotage. You were the protected one they mocked. You were the torch they tried to dim without realizing the flame wasn't just yours. It was backed by forces they can't bargain with, manipulate, or outrun. Now their plans are collapsing, their rituals are failing, their stability is leaking through their fingers like sand. Meanwhile, you're rising, you're glowing, you're rebuilding, because the universe doesn't let chosen ones walk through life empty-handed, especially not because of someone else's cruelty. What they planned for you, it's happening to them instead. Not because you wished it, but because the universe doesn't let thieves drink from cups they tried to smash. Let their cup run dry. Yours is being refilled in ways they never had access to. Number 12. Final judgment. The universe drops the curtain. They thought the show would end on their cue, until the universe ripped the script out of their hands. Chosen one, this is the part where everything accelerates, not slowly, not softly, not politely. This is the snap, the shift, the final curtain drop. The moment where the universe stops giving warnings and starts issuing consequences like lightning strikes. Their season is ending with the same speed and cruelty they aimed at you, and the timing is not a coincidence. It's precision. The moment they stepped into your realm, the moment they played in energies they didn't understand, the moment they tried to twist destiny like it belonged to them, that was the moment their landing spot disappeared. There's no soft fall for people who climbed into clouds they didn't have the wings for. And now, every illusion they hid behind is evaporating under the spotlight they never wanted. You feel the momentum building in your life, fast, sharp, unstoppable. That's not random. That's the universe clearing your path now that the parasites, shadows, and puppeteers have been dragged out of your orbit. It feels like doors that were once welded shut are suddenly swinging open like they've been waiting for you all along. Because they have. Meanwhile, on their side, everything they leaned on is collapsing with embarrassing speed. Their alliances crumble, their fake confidence fractures, their manipulations backfire, their rituals glitch, their tools fail, their protection disappears. They're falling through the air they were never meant to enter in the first place. Chosen one, this is the payoff for surviving what you weren't meant to survive. This is the victory lap after battles nobody knew you were fighting. This is the beginning of a life that moves with force and clarity, because nothing's pulling you backward anymore. Their season ends. Yours begins, violent in speed, brilliant in direction, and completely out of their reach. And now that every mask has fallen, every plot has folded, and every enemy has exposed themselves without you lifting a finger, you can breathe. This chapter closes on your terms. Their ritual ends. Your rise begins. The universe is clearly backing your every step, and nothing they tried could touch the path meant for you. And thank you, Chosen One, for walking this journey with that quiet, unstoppable fire. Pay this message forward. Hit like, smash subscribe, drop the number 77 in the comments, and share this with another rising soul who needs the reminder.